Hi, happy Sunday. Are you as excited as I am? I've been waiting for this week for like 2 years, at least since 2020. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Are you excited? The Crown season 5 drops on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm not talking about the thing happening on Tuesday. We're trying to pretend Tuesday isn't happening. If you haven't voted yet, please go do that. But what we can all agree is going to be a great gosh darn day is Wednesday when the Crown season 5 drops. I don't know about you, but I will be doing nothing that day. I will not even be having office hours. I will be on the couch from 5 a.m. binging the War of the Waleses, watching Crown season 5. I can't wait. Hopefully, you're as excited as I am, because if there's other stuff happening this week, none of it is going to make me feel as good as the Crown. None of it's going to be as exciting as the Crown. I don't want to think about anything else but the Crown. That plus the 35,000 to get out the vote texts that I have sent in the past 7 hours. Oh, well, we're not going to think about that, though. We're going to talk about running. Since some of y'all have been doing that this weekend, I have not been. Today was the New York City Marathon. It's funny to think that I was registered for that at one point, but boy, this year did not work with me. No matter where you are on your fitness journey, if you are not where you expected to be, take a number. So are the rest of us. It's okay. You are by no means behind. So, Karina Terry had a big week. Lee Win. Her work provided their staff with a self-care day along with treats, chair massages, and positive messages. I like that. I thought you worked at a school. What schools do that, Karina Terry? Congratulations. It's awesome. Brenda Haskell had a great treadmill run. She said it was dark and cold, and she was done fighting that, but she nailed it on the treadmill. That is awesome. I know that I wish I had a treadmill most days. We have Peloton, which is good. It's better than nothing. It definitely takes up less space, but nothing replaces a run. Haven't been sick for 2 weeks. The last thing I really want to do is get on Peloton either. You can tell my hair's a little greasy. Showering and motivating. The basic self-care is really difficult when you can't breathe through your nose. Whew, that was nasty. Mask up, y'all. It is gross out there. Questions. Can you talk about the steps of returning to running after being sick for a week? Well, now, having been sick for 2 weeks, I can tell you this. The steps look like, number one, don't overdo it. One of the biggest mistakes that people make in marathons is one that we make when we're sick. It's one of the reasons why I really want people to be here all the time, because when you're trying to get back to a point where you think you can justify having a coach, that is where you're going to make more mistakes than any other period in your coaching journey, in your training journey. So start slow, super slow. Meaning when I go back out there tomorrow, if I go back out there tomorrow, I wanted to go back out there today, but realistically it wasn't going to happen. I blew my nose once and was like, oh, I can't stand up straight, lie down. Wait until you actually feel fine. That is huge. Whether or not you believe COVID actually happened, as someone who had it, I can tell you that long COVID is terrible. It's debilitating. You really don't want it. And your odds of catching long COVID are higher in the period right after you think you've recovered. So the last thing you want to do is like get better, then catch it again. So I would be like, wait until a really satisfactory amount of time has passed. So let's say you finally feel better on a Friday, but you are itching to get out there and you feel behind and you're worried about what you're missing. That, if you're focusing on what you've not done and what you've been missing, you're going to make a bad choice. It's kind of like when you look down at a marathon and realize you're behind whatever your target finish time was, then you're going to overshoot and end up walking. So instead of being off by a couple of minutes, you'll be off by like half an hour. That's the kind of thing we want to avoid here. So going back into it, do not plan to be out for longer than 20, maybe 30 minutes tops your first day back after being off for a week. I really want you to rest and hydrate and take big long baths with Epsom salts. Make sure you can breathe through your nose better than I can right now. I'm struggling a little bit. So if you can't breathe, you can't run. That's a pretty good maxim. If you could be on a day, if you're out there in the cold fighting to get oxygen in, then your body, which needs that oxygen in order to heal and recover, is not going to be doing anything to make your muscles stronger, right? It might feel good to move, but don't move harder than what makes sense, or longer than what makes sense. I would be like, just go as easy as you can. And if it's too cold to go easy because you think you'll freeze, stay indoors. Check out the strength that was done this week. part of the reason I gave it to you for November this year is because I love doing that routine in my gear as part of my warm up inside before I go outside, because that'll get your muscles warm. That'll get your blood pumping right there. See, if you're having trouble putting sentences together because you can't breathe through your nose, you probably don't need to run. So that's really what the steps would look like as far as I am concerned. Is being realistic. I've been out for a week. I've been out for 2. More than 20 minutes isn't going to do me any good. And remind myself that like I am by no means behind. And the reason that matters is because then you're not trying to play catch up. We're just going to write those 2 weeks off. We are not going to worry about if we look at our fitness scores that dropped, hey, congratulations. We are carrying less stress than we were 2 weeks before. Doesn't mean we've lost fitness. Your fitness is not like a thing that you can throw away or stash or lose. And you certainly don't lose it that quickly. Okay. We need to focus on healing first and then getting back into a good, consistent pattern. But otherwise, don't worry about what you left behind or trying to make up ground. That's not going to lead anywhere good. As a strength beginner, I really appreciate how you've scaled back the strength to fewer moves repeated throughout the month. Thank you. I find that it's way easier to be consistent when I'm not trying to remember so many different moves. Same. However, I still find times where I just don't feel like logging onto Facebook to follow along. Can you suggest 1 or 2 moves to keep in my back pocket that would be beginner safe and give a lot of bang for my buck? I was thinking like squats and wall push-up or something like that, but would love your input if there's something more effective. Squats are fantastic. There's never a bad time to do squats. Absolutely hang on to squats. The 2 ways that I would do it, if you've been here for a while, you know one of my favorite squats is to go put my nose against the wall, get as close as I can, and then take 1 small step back. And then the whole idea is to do a squat without, I'll try to show you in a minute, but the sound doesn't carry that well, but try to squat without leaning forward. So what that looks like here, in all intents and purposes, against the wall, step back, toes pointed straight ahead, squat. So the reason that matters is that you'll see your nose will get really close to the wall. And we want to make sure that it doesn't touch the wall. Put something between your knees if you have to keep them from buckling in and touching each other. But that is a really good way to make sure that your glutes are engaged and are holding your body's weight up. So don't just squat with intention. Do it facing a wall. Now, when it comes to wall push-ups, I don't mind those. But if we were really going to get the most bang for our buck, then we need to change the plane of motion. So then we go from squatting to stepping. So taking a step, like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Trying not to get my head caught in the fan. So those step ups are exactly what I would do. So squats and step ups are the 2 things you can keep in your pocket. You can do them just about anywhere. And more than anything else, that will get. There was an article in the Washington Post this week about, it was by Gretchen Reynolds, the 5 moves that bodyweight moves that'll, are really all you need. And there's some truth to that, but they're also really hard. I'm not going to do jumping jacks every day. Who is? But if you can stomach squats and steps, then that's going to do more for your booty and your quads than just about anything else you could do. I'm rebuilding and I'm finding my watch more harmful mentally than helpful. I feel that. I've gotten to a point where I'm finding the joy in the movement, but when I add the watch numbers, somehow I start obsessing about rate of improvement and pace and other things that are more frustrating than helpful right now. I feel that hard. By the way, I tried just not looking at the numbers, but was not successful at that strategy. Who would be? Can you suggest some things to pay attention to in my body and make sure I'm not overdoing it since I'm not using the heart rate data? I would just match your breathing to your footfalls. So if you're not, you should be able to get 2 steps on your inhale and then 2 steps on your exhale. And I think of that as like Zen breathing. If you can get more than 2 steps on your inhale, great. Right? But if we can, it's really the 4 steps on the inhale, 4 steps on the exhale. Odds are, if you can do that, if you can hold your breath for that long and not feel like you're a chimney huffing and puffing and forcing the air out, then you're right where you need to be. So 4 steps on the inhale, 4 steps on the exhale. Anything less than that, like 3 steps is a tempo run and 2 steps to the inhale, to the exhale, like that just sounds stressful, right? That's going fast, right? Try to find that rhythm and hold on to it, and you'd be surprised. That's what I'm generally shooting for, whether or not I'm wearing my watch, no matter how fit or how fast I am at any given point in time. So you could easily do that and not look at your watch at all. And I celebrate that. Way to know yourself. If you know that that watch is stressing you out, let's get rid of the watch, figure something else out. If this doesn't work, hop in office hours and let's talk about options, because you got plenty. Either way. So we have for the week. I'm going to go sit on my menthol inhalers for another couple minutes and count down till season 5 of The Crown comes my way. You are coached. You are loved. Please wear masks because you do not want this RSV. It's awful. Then you'll be winning life.